Harrowings Live with Hal Gill, your host. And this is a little bit of who, what, when, and where, sure enough. Just there's only me here, and then the people who are joining in, Wonder Seeker and Deborah Healy so far. Good to have you this evening. Harrowings Live with Hal Gill, as I mentioned. And, I'm doing this partially as proof of life after I did some writing and then a little live thing this morning. I just started to turn in and sleep for about 6 hours. My good wife was nice enough to take a lift home. She had a 50% off coupon apparently for that, so that's good. Last day she could use it. And what else do I want to talk about? I mean, I'm watching a thing called The Turning Point, the Cold War on Netflix at the moment. And I think it's worth watching history, documentaries of this type. They're talking about the situation in the Soviet Union just after Stalin's death at the moment. And the problem I see, of course, is that human beings have this power structure under which we tend to operate, where we are now into chief, and then our tribes, fall into ranks behind the chief and march off to whatever direction that the society seems most, tuned with. A lot of us are conformist. We don't think. We don't use our prefrontal cortexes as much as I would like to see us do. We tend to be much more in tune with our amygdalas, our lizard brains, our fight and flight responses, our desire to pod up and herd instinct. And we feel very vulnerable and isolated if we do get separated from the herd. So you all are part of my herd now. The virtual ability to connect and eliminate time and distance by the means we have at our disposal and our technology certainly allow us to be a global brain of sorts. And we are now augmented by our information tools. That's really what artificial intelligence is. It's information, and it's more the networking of that information together. Calling it intelligence is debatable to me. It is definitely a way of, synthesizing information together and extending it quickly and more rapidly than a human can, but maybe not with that same quality that humans have for creative work. Our imaginations, our ability to ask questions that our tools then can answer, the ability to go to the card catalog when I was growing up and be able to find information in a library. I used to go to Earl Gregg Swim Library at the College of William & Mary quite a bit to do my high school papers and try to do research on things like the Alan Parsons Project, to write a paper on that when I was in the 10th grade, of all things. I was very interested, though, and I wanted to pull information together. I also was aware that by getting an 8-track player and putting that on at the top of the lockers in our senior corps locker room of our fife and drum corps, I was to some degree making impacts on what everyone was listening to. So I was actually tweaking the system a little bit by being the person who was sort of programming that DJ-wise. And so still with me in the back of my head was my contribution there. I knew that, I myself didn't count for much, but I knew that those little ripple effects, those little actions I was taking were having network effects. In other words, I connect with you guys, the 3 of you here. You connect with other people in your networks. I have 5,000 or so connections out there that tend to receive me on a regular basis. And I don't know what that means. I don't know what the effects of my pebbles in the pond of consciousness amount to. But I do know that we together can do better if we share information with each other, if we watch the passing show, if we pay attention. And the paying attention, when there's so much information out there, is a very, very limited resource. So if you have paid attention to anything I've said this evening, wonderful. If not, oh well. I'm doing what I can with what I have. I'm trying to be the change I want to see in the world. I'm trying to remember that every cent spent is a vote for the kind of world we are co-creating. And I noticed that, my subscribers are going up and down around 570 or so now to 580. Hopefully they won't drop much below 570, but we'll see. I've also noticed paid subscriptions are down. Lost Vibes 100, thank you very much for your paid subscription. I really need the support, and I need to be amplified through the networks. You can restack my work. You can do all kinds of things to help Harrowings get out there. When I write an article, I have a place there for people to share the publication, a place where they can send me a message or leave a comment. Certainly the subscribe button is there at the bottom. I don't try to push it too hard because I think that's kind of unseemly, but at the same time, if I don't have help, I'm going to be in real trouble soon. So I'm needing the economic support of other Substack writers, authors, and certainly the amplification helps a great deal. Free subscribers most welcome, of course, and I'm giving away a lot for free. But it's the work. It's the work I'm doing in service of humanity is the way I look at it. I'm doing the best I can with what I have. If you've got suggestions, I'd love to hear them. And hey, Eric, good to join you. Or have you joined? I was just talking a little bit off the cuff. I'm about to wrap up. This is kind of proof of life because I've been sick today. And we did have a nice little talk about Douglas Adams going in the back of one of your posts. I enjoyed that. And the way you can help me is be a paid subscriber. Amplify my signal through the noise if you can't afford a paid subscription. And all of those things will really be very helpful. I'm getting to the point where I really need it. I've lost another paid subscriber today. I don't know who dropped out, but it doesn't really matter. It matters that if I am not doing the right things that people tell me, if you're a paid subscriber, you're part of my board of directors and you may direct me. And that's really important too. I don't want to beg, but at the same time, I am in a bit of financial distress at this point after being employed for a year and being the executive director of a foundation that has no employees, but has a task of working on my father's archives and being a mourner as well of my father. I'm not as adept at that as I might like to be because there's a lot of emotional charge around it. And I'm getting older. My breathing capacity is not what it was. I think I'm getting sick. And I think what I'll do now is log off here and log on to one medical group and see if I can't connect to my primary care physician or come in for a exam maybe tomorrow and see whether or not I'm actually suffering from anything that they can diagnose. My lungs, I think, are clear, but I'm getting congestion up out of the bronchial tubes, and I may need to have some sort of like Z-Pack or something like that to put me right. Who knows? I try to avoid taking medications wherever possible. I take a number of supplements that I hope are helping, but, I'm no doctor. So I got to check in with the medical professionals from time to time. Just noting Daniel Ellsberg's death date there, and watching, as I said, Turning Point, the Cold War. And that's on my mind a good bit lately. The UN General Assembly will be meeting this month. They'll be talking about nuclear disarmament overall, eliminating nuclear weapons across the globe. And that's a long shot, but I think it can be done. So pay attention to what actually matters in terms of our existential crises that happen to all of us in this world, and try to be the change we want to see. Again, every cent spent is a vote for the kind of world we are co-creating. So I'm wrapping up here, and thank you very much for being a part of all this. I do appreciate it, and I appreciate particularly reading your stuff. So post away, and I'll amplify you if you amplify me. That's all I got out here.